Hey guys, how are you doing? Without wasting any time, we start the list with Post-Trauma, a psychological horror game developed by an indie studio that has caught the attention of many players due to its nostalgic style and engaging mechanics. Post-Trauma combines elements of exploration and puzzle solving, with a narrative that unfolds as players progress. The game uses a third-person perspective and features graphics that evoke a retro aesthetic, reminiscent of horror games from the 90s. The narrative has been praised for its ability to capture the essence of psychological horror, with many critics highlighting the depth of its narrative and the quality of its puzzles. Post-Trauma is a significant addition to the horror game genre, attracting both longtime fans and new players. With its release, the game promises to become a benchmark title for those seeking a unique and terrifying experience.
You think you can escape what you've done?
I think I can try.
It's time.
Following the list, we have Unrecord, an FPS game developed by the independent company Drama that promises a realistic and immersive experience. The game uses Unreal Engine 5, the latest version of Epic Games' graphics engine, to create high-quality graphics and a visually stunning environment. The gameplay is designed to provide a cinematic experience, where choices have a significant impact on the story. Players take on the role of a character in a realistic environment, where immersion is a priority. Unrecord promises innovative gameplay mechanics, such as a unique shooting system and free hand movement. The game also does not have a traditional aiming reticle, which increases the immersion and difficulty of the gameplay. Unrecord is a promising game that has generated great anticipation among FPS enthusiasts, promising to become a favorite among enthusiasts of well-told stories and immersive gameplay.
Where the fuck is Oscar?
Phantom Blade Zero is an action RPG that blends elements of steampunk with Chinese martial arts, promising a frenetic and challenging experience. The gameplay of Phantom Blade Zero is inspired by games like Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, focusing on fast and strategic combat, using dodges and counterattacks to overcome enemies. The game features a unique combat system that combines elements of martial arts with acrobatic movements. Recently, new trailers and gameplay videos have been released, showcasing the intense action and impressive graphics the game offers. Phantom Blade Zero has the potential to become one of the big hits in the action RPG genre. The game features a unique visual style, an innovative combat system, and a captivating story. The initial reception to the game has been positive, with many players and critics expressing enthusiasm for the proposal and the visual quality presented in the trailers. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater is a remake of the classic Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, originally released for PlayStation 2 in 2004. The game promises to bring enhanced graphics, modernized gameplay, and an immersive experience for players. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater is considered a faithful adaptation of the original, maintaining the essence of the narrative and gameplay, albeit with significant improvements in terms of graphics and mechanics, presenting a new, more modern control style, although the original controls are also available. The game also offers modern camera options, including a third-person over-the-shoulder perspective at times. The release of Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater is a major event for fans of the Metal Gear franchise, promising to bring a nostalgic and innovative experience.
Even if they are our enemies, they're still our countrymen.
But it won't be me that pulled the trigger.
Colonel!
It'll be our friend, the American defector.
Ill is a new first-person horror game developed by the studio Clout Games. The game is being created using Unreal Engine 5, which promises stunning graphics and an immersive experience for players. Since its announcement, ILL has generated great anticipation among fans of the genre. IL takes place in a dark and disturbing environment, where players are challenged to face growing horrors and confront their deepest fears. IL emphasizes the need to use resources, such as ammunition, cautiously, which adds a layer of strategy to the gameplay. The narrative promises to reveal disturbing truths about the city where the game takes place. The game features a complex weapon system, allowing the player to customize their weapons, swap ammunition, and perform maintenance to prevent malfunctions. Isle has the potential to be one of the scariest and most innovative horror games in recent times. Paranormal Tales is a horror game in development that has caught attention for its innovative proposal and impressive graphics. Inspired by the famous game PT, it uses the found footage technique, a popular style in horror films that uses supposedly found footage to create an atmosphere of suspense and realism. In Paranormal Tales, you experience the tragic tales of those who disappeared through the perspective of body cameras, phones, and VHS tapes using Unreal Engine 5, which allows for realistic graphics and convincing visual effects. The game is developed by Digital Cyber Cherries, the same team behind the toy war-themed first-person shooter game, Hypercharge Unboxed. With its innovative proposal and cutting-edge graphics, Paranormal Tales promises to be an exciting addition to the horror game genre. Fans are eager to see how Digital Cyber Cherries will develop this terrifying experience. Kingdom Hearts 4 is the next title in the famous RPG franchise developed by Square Enix. The announcement trailer featured Sora with a more realistic design, marking the beginning of a new phase in the franchise's narrative called the Lost Master Arc. In addition to Sora, iconic characters like Donald Duck and Goofy will also return, promising to maintain the essence that fans love. The game takes place in a new universe called Quadratum, a realistic world that is unlike any other world seen in the franchise. The narrative will introduce new characters such as Strelitzia, who will make her first appearance in the franchise. The game's combat system will be enhanced with new mechanics and movements. Kingdom Hearts 4 promises to be an exciting addition to the series, with a new visual style and a narrative that continues to explore the themes of friendship and fighting against the forces of evil. Hell Is Us is a third-person action-adventure game developed by Rogue Factor and published by Nacon. The game is being created with Unreal Engine 5 and promises an intense combat and exploration experience in a semi-open world. Hell Is Us takes place in an isolated country ravaged by internal conflicts, where the player needs to unravel the secrets of their past and deal with the consequences of a mysterious calamity. The story explores themes such as civil war, human emotions, and family. The player needs to rely on their own observation, reasoning, and intuition to progress. The game also features an intense melee combat system and the ability to use a drone to assist in combat and explore inaccessible areas, standing out for its old-school approach to exploration without maps, markers, or guides. Hell Is Us promises to be a unique experience, blending elements of action and adventure. Glaciered is a third-person action-adventure game that promises a unique and futuristic experience set in an underwater world covered in ice. The game is developed by the Japanese studio Snowblind and published by Playism. The setting of Glaciered takes place on Earth, 65 million years in the future, in a world that has been transformed by what is called Everwinter. In this frozen environment, the surface of the planet is covered by a thick layer of ice, while life continues to thrive beneath the glacial seas. Players take on the role of a Twi, a new species that evolved from birds and became the successor to the dinosaurs. The player's goal is to protect Everwinter and face various threats that arise in this hostile world. Glaciered is described as an aquatic hack-and-slash game, offering a different proposal compared to other titles in the genre. 2 is the sequel to the popular survival game Ark Survival Evolved, developed by Studio Wildcard. The game promises to take players to a primitive world teeming with dinosaurs and humans fighting for dominance, where they must join legendary heroes to face powerful forces of darkness. The story promises to be an exciting adventure that spans eras, with elements of fantasy and science fiction. Ark 2 will be developed using Unreal Engine 5, which will allow for next-generation graphics and will feature new combat mechanics, such as a melee combat system inspired by the Souls series, focusing on player skills such as blocks, dodges, and combos. Code to Jin Yong is an anticipated open-world action game in development by Lightspeed Studios and published by Tencent Games. The game, which is inspired by the novels of renowned Chinese writer Jin Yong, promises to transport players to a world of martial arts and fantasy with spectacular combat and a universe rich in detail. Players will be able to engage in choreographed combat, focusing on sword fights and elemental powers. The game's trailer has already shown elaborate scenes that highlight the dynamics of the battles. The goal is to create an environment where players can feel immersed in martial arts, freely exploring the world created by Jin Yong. Code to Jin Yong combines elements of action, RPG, and exploration in an open world, with next-generation graphics, spectacular combat, and a rich story inspired. And finally, we have the game Gears of War E-Day. The sixth main installment in the Gears of War franchise promises to take players back to the beginning of the war against the Locust, 14 years before the events of the first game. The game will focus on the origins of the war against the Locust, showing the invasion of Emergence Day and the events that led to the epic battle between humans and Locust. The story will be told through the eyes of Marcus Fenix, protagonist of the first 3 games in the franchise, and his best friend, Dominic Santiago. In contrast to Gears 5, which introduced open-world elements, E-Day will be a more linear experience, focusing on the narrative and the origin story of the war against the Locust. Well, that was the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and see you next time.